And our final two speakers are from the Mason District. Here.
Track one, is this on? No. All right.
Test. All right, good. My name is Gary Aiken, and I'm running for Mason District Supervisor. This is my first run for office at the county level, and in my day job, I'm Chief Risk Officer for a mutual life insurance company. A mutual company is different from your average corporation because a mutual is owned by its policyholders. It's owned by the people who have a vested interest in its future, a vested interest in making sure that the products and services that are delivered by the company are up to a very high standard. And they also have a vested interest in making sure that that company will be there for a very, very long time. So my job as risk officer is to think about all the things that could impact us and how we're going to deal with those issues, how we're going to mitigate those risks so that we will be able to provide products and services that people want so that we can be there for the long haul. In our case, as a mutual life company, it's 50, 60, 70, 80 years in the future. So my job is to think long-term about problems and how to solve them. But as I was thinking about what I was going to say here tonight, I really wanted to focus on my district, on Mason District, and what people are saying in Mason District, and what I think we can do in Mason District to make it a more environmentally friendly place and a better place for quality of life. The first thing is we need to do more in our parks. If you go to a lot of our parks in Mason District and Fairfax County, see the trees are covered with vines. After the rainfall that we just had, a lot of the trees have fallen. So there's dead trees that need to be removed. And healthy forests are an important environmental thing that we need to preserve. So I think that's a micro level thing that our parks are not getting all the attention that they need. Second thing is streams. My neighborhood is part of the Cook Branch stream. And for those who are familiar with Lake Atkinson, Cook Branch runs into Lake Atkinson. And while there was a study done in 2017, and I know there's a lot to be done with that, but we're finally in the fall, I think, going to have that stream restored. What happens when we don't restore our streams in a timely manner? Well, backyards erode into the streams, bringing chemicals in and also bringing sediment. What happens to the sediment? It flows downstream into the lakes. If we don't take care of the streams, the lakes get filled, and then we've got what we've got in Lake Atkinson. We've got a $30 million problem. Code compliance is one of the issues that I never expected would be a big deal, but it is. And trash and debris is all over our streets. It's in our vacant lots, and we have tons of vacancy in Mason District. We have people who have paved over their front yards, removing permeable surfaces, and so code compliance is a big issue that impacts our local environment. Finally, I think people have talked about energy efficiency, but one of the things that I've seen as somebody who's in the private sector, and I've seen this in a number of different places, and we've even been close to being investors in this, is the private sector can come in, make all of the capital investments to get your building up to snuff. And we should even do that, we should require it of our leased buildings as well. That the private sector can make these investments, share in the cost savings that will come from it, and at the end of the term of the contract, we're left with a great green building that saves for us, saves for the taxpayer, saves the environment. I'm Gary Aiken, running for Mason District Supervisor. I hope to win your vote in November. Thank you.
Spaces and parks. Thousands of volunteers rally around our parks, open spaces, and natural areas in support of trash pickup, invasive plant removal, and being good stewards of our land. Volunteers are stepping up to the plate. It's time for the county to do its part. Many of our natural areas look really bad. If you are elected, will you commit in your first term to going forward to prioritizing the protection for and care of our parks and open spaces by providing more funding for natural resource management in the county, and/or what other measures would you take to preserve natural areas and open spaces? We're going to start here with Kelly and move down the table.
Let me answer that question. Yes, because that's the right answer, and that's also my answer. And that's, I don't know who asked the question, but parks was the first thing that I talked about in my introduction. And parks aren't the only place that need help in cleaning up. In Mason District, we have a lot of downtown areas. We have 4 different federal opportunity zones. And Bailey's Crossroads is the first one I picked off on. And my policy position that I came up with at the very start of this campaign was for a Clean Up Bailey's force. We need folks who are out there in uniform, picking up trash and making sure it doesn't get into the gutters and out into the bay. And we need to do that not just because of the environment, we also need to do it because it will help to revitalize Bailey's Crossroads, which will encourage businesses to come back, it'll encourage people to want to move back here in the Mason District, and it will also make Mason District a place where people feel like this county cares about them again.
The question was about natural areas and open spaces.
For the Lee and Mason districts, what 2 fundamental changes have to happen in the politics developers dynamic to accomplish the revolutionary changes required by climate change? What 2 fundamental changes have to happen in the politics developers dynamic to accomplish the revolutionary changes required by climate change? And we'll just move down. We'll start with Larissa.
I think the policies that we need to have, at least in Mason District, for Mason District, are more pro-business. In Skyline, we have a portfolio of buildings, 50% of which are vacant. You still have to heat, you still have to cool a vacant building. We have big boxes that are vacant. You still have to heat, you still have to cool a big box. We have empty ground that isn't doing anything. There's no shrubs on it, there's no plants on it, there's no green on it, it's just dirt. So anything we can do, I don't view the question as the government against business. I think businesses are here. What we need to do is have a level playing field, rules that make sense, policies that make sense, and encourage people to do smart things.
The question was the political developers dynamic, which is an interesting way of putting it. We're pretty much built to our borders in Fairfax County, especially in Mason District. And so it's really important that we look at stormwater and lead and so forth. But I think that the CPACE ordinance, which we just adopted, is going to have a huge incentive for developers. Now, don't forget the community process for rezonings, special exception amendments, profit condition amendments, comprehensive plans. The community makes a lot of good suggestions, and most applications do not look the same when they get before the board as they did when they were originally proposed to the staff. So make sure that you participate in those various discussions. I want to go back to something in the previous question. Our 20-year environmental vision excellence plan was significant change. The stormwater fee was significant change. So it's not either or, it's really and. Thank you.
The next question from my panel on my left concerns issues of stormwater control, invasive plants, and some of the other associated lawn care issues, pesticide runoff, and so forth. So what creative ideas would you bring to the table to address the impact of invasive species, the impact of the problem of stormwater control, and the use of pesticides on lawns. In other words, that whole lawn area. What creative ideas would you bring to address those problems? And I think this one goes to Rob.
Is enforce codes that are on the books. In Mason District, we have a lot of folks who have paved over their front yards and turning it into body shops. You know, when you pave over your front yard, you remove that impervious surface. The water doesn't go into the ground like it should. It goes into the street, and into streams, or into the bay. So we need to. In the last budget, we cut 5 people out of code compliance. And when you talk to our code compliance folks, they don't have the teeth to really go after people and enforce the codes that are on the books that are here to protect us from those things that were in that question. You know, as for you know, pesticides and what people do on their own lawns, you know, I don't know the answer to that one. I know that we sprayed our backyard for mosquitoes. We were able to use the whole backyard for all of our summers, and our kids enjoyed it, and nobody ever got sick. So I think we chose the green option, but frankly, I have no idea if that was just the same stuff that they were just marketing to us as green.
Slightly different way. Quote, if you don't plan, you plan to fail, end quote. The Park Authority took a $1.8 million revenue shortfall this past year that the Board of Supervisors agreed to cover. This was due to significant rains in 2018-19. This will happen again probably soon. If you are elected, will you commit in the first year of your term and going forward to ensuring climate change resiliency planning is included and implemented in all county agencies, especially those with revenue responsibility, and including the Fairfax County Park Authority? This is about climate change resiliency planning and including it in all county agency planning, especially revenue responsible agencies. And I think we're starting with Gary.
I'm not making any pledges to any group on any issue, but I think my answer would still be no. You know, I'm not sure that we can say with any certainty that, you know, we're going to have as much rain this year as we did last year. Maybe we'll have more. Maybe we'll have less snow, so we'll need less salt. You know, I'd leave it to the folks who are in that agency, who know what it takes to plan, who know all of the minutia that goes in. Because what we see at the top level is 1.8 million. What they see is, well, I needed this, and I needed that because there was something below that, there was something below that, there was something below that. If we believe that we have hired great people in these agencies, I want them to tell me what they need, and then it's my job as a supervisor to make sure they've got the resources that they need to serve crucial county functions. That's what a supervisor does.
The 20-year Environmental Vision Excellence Plan is exactly what we did do in 2004. It incorporated all of our county employees. The updated version that I told you about, which added a chapter on climate change, actually expands that. So I'm the only person on this panel who voted for it. Our Economic Strategic Success Plan also incorporates climate resilience and other opportunities. And again, I am the only person on this panel who voted for it. So while I do not make commitments necessarily, I don't make promises I can't keep, I've already demonstrated through my votes that I support what you just talked about.
I'm running for Mason District Supervisor. My name is Gary Aiken. And the one tangible thing, because that's what the question was, the one tangible thing that I will advocate for as strongly as I humanly can on day one is for a Clean Up Bailey's force. Cleaning up Bailey's and revitalizing Mason District is crucial. It's crucial for Mason District to bring back economic jobs, to bring back people who want to live there, and for people who already are living there to improve their quality of life. Why do you care about cleanup Baileys if you live in Braddock or Springfield? You care because a rising tide lifts all boats. And if we can revitalize Mason and bring economic prosperity to Mason, that means tax revenues for the county will go up for Mason District, meaning that we won't have to raise your taxes in other magisterial districts to make up for the lack of progress in our magisterial district. My name is Gary Aiken. My website is www.thegpac.com. I look forward to earning your vote in November in the general election. Thank you.